there, people. This is Dominic Keating, and this is my Trekzone conversation.
Dom, thanks so much for your time today, man. I really appreciate it.
Pleasure, mate.
Welcome back to Trekzone.
Thank you, buddy. Now,
the last time we saw you, I called you the tactical officer, and you corrected me by saying you're the armory officer.
I can't imagine I would have done such a thing.
Now, I wanted to elaborate on that because Star Trek Enterprise, 14 years ago now that it wrapped. Well, 13, coming up to 14.
God.
How does that make you feel?
Old. Grateful. That I'm after all these years, that it's still... they're just blowing the stage up next to me, I'm afraid, people. Sorry about that. Hopefully Connor Trenier's on it. 14 years, is it really? God, it is amazing, isn't it? How time flies, dude. We're coming up on our 20th anniversary. I mean,
it's incredible.
It's pretty freaky, I have to say. Very grateful that after all these years, the fandom is still interested, and I can't believe that I still sign people's, photographs and whatever else, boobs, babies, and bums.
How does it feel when people come up with your season 1 publicity photo for an autograph 20 years later? Do you look at that young man and say, where did he go?
I think that's $50, mate. Depending on the gig. Utterly. Where did that young man go? I was just on stage here at the Comic-Con in... where are we now? Brisbane. Thank you. And I was talking about... Someone asked me about, have you seen the episodes? And I was like, well, not really. I have a hard time looking at myself on TV anyway. And then I can't remember how many, it was a few years back now, but Connor and I were asked in to do some commentary tracks for the Blu-ray release. And it had been 10 years at least 10 years, I think, since the inception of the show. And it really threw me for a loop, mate, when I saw this young, handsome, fresh-faced, plump, I looked and sounded like an adult.
Full of hope.
But full of hope.
Hope for 7 seasons.
In the sound studio loo there's some shitty neon lighting. I'm looking in this crappy mirror at this old dude. I'm like, it really upset me, man. It took me, there wasn't enough wine at lunchtime to get me through that afternoon session. It is a weird thing to see, the passing of time, mate.
Now, you are an accomplished actor, both theatre and TV and stage.
I've done some stuff.
I mean, the main reason here, Trekzone, obviously, is Star Trek. So we're talking about your time on Enterprise. And we keep coming back to this 20th anniversary. People are still coming to the stage.
Yeah.
They're dressed up in cosplay and they want to engage you in Star Trek questions, and they're asking you hypotheticals and are you coming on the new show and all that sort of stuff. Did you expect that when you signed on to Enterprise?
I guess I had an inkling. I had seen that documentary Trekkies. I did it as part of my research. I did 2 things. I watched that and I tried to read Dune. Got about 40 pages into that and went, no, we'll just watch the film.
End
of that. So I had an inkling of what I was getting into regarding the fandom. I do feel like I let some of them down. I had a guy at the table this morning that wanted to bang on about one particular episode about the Borg, which
Season 2
I vaguely remembered filming because John Billingsley's wife, Bonnie, she was in it. But I other than that, I have no recollection of the episode whatsoever. I haven't seen it. And he bless his heart, he wouldn't let it go. I felt bad. And I went, I'm sorry, mate. I just, there were many episodes that just became one long episode of Star Trek. And
that's something that sort of gets lost a little bit, isn't it? It
well,
really
they forget that I'm not watching the show every week.
Yeah.
I mean, God bless that they are. Do you know what? I'm going to sit down. I think it's high time that I sat down. I know Garrett Wong's done this and has embraced the whole thing, and he's watched every episode of Star Trek that they ever made of anything. And I think it's about time, in honor of all of it, that I do the same. So I think maybe over Christmas, I shall get the whole lot. And it'll be fun watching some of the original show again, because I grew up with that show. I've never been more frightened by those fried eggs on that one episode. I remember as a 9-year-old, Scared out of my mind.
Yes.
With the fried eggs that kept falling off the buildings.
This is how much of a fan I am, because that's Operation Annihilate, the season 1 finale of the original series.
Was that season 1, was it?
It was.
Oh, man.
So 1967, that one went to air.
Well, I never. Honestly, I was 8.
So, just keeping with that theme of conventions, the first one, do you remember the first Star Trek convention that you went to?
Yeah.
And appearing on stage,
yeah.
Did it, like you sort of had you said you sort of had an inkling, but did you know that it was going to be like that?
So it was in Phoenix, Arizona, and oddly enough, I'm here with Gates McFadden, and she was the other guest. I remember when it got to the signing part, I'd already sat down, and in those days we didn't have separate lines, so they came through. They had to come through me to get to her, and clearly Gates was a seasoned Trek convention actress in those days. Frankly, I didn't know who she was. I sat down and she looked over me. It wasn't like, "Hi, how are you?" It was like, "Are you fast?" And I was like, "Oh, watch this, lady.
I've got this,
you old lady."
Well, look, Dom, it is absolutely awesome.
No, a pleasure, mate.
To meet you again and have you back on the show.
Thank you, bud.
I know you're on a break, so I really appreciate your time. Just one thing to take us out. You did it just on stage, and I didn't realise that you had this, the alternate theme song. Is there any chance that we could get a few bars off you? Please.
Okay, sure. I don't know if you guys know this, but there is an alternate theme song that I wrote on a napkin going out to FedCon from London, and I serenaded actually Jolene Blaylock with it live on stage. We'd just been canned, and I was humming the theme song, and I'd had a couple of gin and tonics, and I don't know, the first line came to me, and it goes like this. It wasn't such a long time, it was only 4 years, not such a long time. They didn't answer all my prayers, but now we're cancelled. They can kiss my ass. They can go to hell. They should have made me captain anyhow, and put me in the cat suit as well, 'cause I've got tits and ass just as good as Jolene Blaylock. I've got looks and charms, mountains higher than Connor Trinneer, books and smarts, just as much as Dr. Phlox ever had. I've got game, right from the heart. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen.
Well done.
That's Dominic Keating out.
We will put a cheer in the sound effects there as well. One last question, and I know we're getting the wrap up here, but I forgot to ask you about Connor Trinneer. You pay out on him a little bit, but do you secretly like him a little bit?
Oh, he's my best mate. He's my bestie. I was on the phone with him this morning for half an hour. Yeah, he's a top guy. He made those years joyous, and I made a really, God bless. I mean, this show, without a doubt, I lucked out, dude. We all did, and it changed my life, and I got a best friend out of it too.
Fantastic, Dominic. Thank you so much for your time.
My pleasure, bud.